Why hello everybody, it is your least favorite Animal Jam YouTuber here, PieGirlzy, back again with another video, and today, I have some terrible news. The flag on the diamond shop is gone. No, but actually, before I even start whatever this video is, I would like to just say really quickly, thank you guys so much for 30,000 subscribers. I never expected the meme family to grow so big. I'd like to say a special thank you to every single person who's even just watched my video for like 10 seconds. Man, I edit these things, I also cringe. So I'd just like to really quickly say thank you. It means so much to me that so many people have supported me throughout the years I've done YouTube, so thank you all for that. I will have a video soon, kind of like a 30k special. It's either going to be a meme compilation or a horror film. There's no in between. You'll see when it comes out. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. Well, without further ado, let's actually get into today's topic. So, with all the new animals coming into Jamaa, it seems like every single week we have some new species. And honestly, I don't know if our lands can keep up. It seems like we have so many animals and not enough lands. And especially since we're getting a new one probably next week, it's a bit overwhelming. And so that's what got me and a lot of other people thinking. Is it possible we'll ever get a new land? And if so, where would it be? And in fact, I've actually seen a lot of people talking about this recently, so I thought I'd actually do some digging for myself and kind of make some theories on what could be a new land. So actually, believe it or not, there are a lot of places in Animal Jam that are just cut off. No one ever goes there. You probably don't know they exist, and there's no animation or anything that goes with it. It's just kind of a part of the map. And there's quite a few of these in Jamaa, whether you know it or not. So let's get into the first ones, which are pretty obvious. So we are in Mount Shavir, and I bet you that you know what I'm talking about. So if we cross this dangerous, slippery ice, oh, my bad, you'll come across this kind of blocked off cave right here. So they actually have used this cave multiple times to hint at the new animal. In fact, this used to have this seal on it before until they recarved it, I guess you could say, into the Arctic fox as a clue. But what's most interesting about this is that this has been in the game for a very long time. But recently, they've actually kind of covered it up once again with this new little masterpiece party thing. So if you just click on it, you can go to the masterpiece party. But the thing is, Animal Jam kind of knows this exists, and they're not afraid to put something in front of it. So that kind of got me thinking. If they know it exists, and they're willing to put things in front of it and around it, it's possible one day they might actually expand on it. And this actually kind of reminds me of things on Play Wild, for example. You know how there's like the Arctic wolves only and the deers only, pretty much any animals only section. It's just kind of like this one singular room that you can go into from one spot in Animal Jam. Personally, I think that's what these could be, or like a concept of these rooms. Because I'm not exactly sure where this could lead to, although somehow Mount Shavir leads to Crystal Sands, don't really know how. I'm not exactly sure where this would go, but there are plenty of possibilities that I will get into. And so the other place in Mount Shavir that's kind of just cut off is right up here. Not the egg. The eggs are fine. But there's actually this other blocked off cave right here that they have also acknowledged by putting the eggs here. And this has been in the game for a super long time. So it is very possible that we could get something going in here as well. And since if you go down this cave and it leads you to Crystal Sands, maybe you could go down this cave and it'll also lead you to Crystal Sands, but maybe somewhere different. Since it's not that much of a difference between the two tunnels, maybe they could even meet up. And personally, I think would be cool if these tunnels could actually be walked through. Like the pathway on the map right here, you can actually see it. I think that'd be really cool if maybe these could be pathways as well, and you could kind of go through them and actually walk to Crystal Sands. And I mean, I'm not exactly sure how you get from the ice caps of the land down to the sandy beaches, but if that's possible, I think this is possible too. And so actually what I think could be done with either of these two entrances is I think they could maybe end up in the spot I'm going to show you next, which is actually in Jamaa Township. And I think this is one people rarely notice because it's a place they don't really go. Most people of course go to the furniture shop, but if you actually dare to walk a little further, you see this kind of empty pathway. There's tons of bamboo, and during the Halloween time on Animal Jam, they actually do put some phantoms here, or I think it's a bat, with a little fact and a picture on it. And just by looking at the animations of these, you can tell this is a very old spot in Animal Jam, something that hasn't really been touched on in too long. But what I do think is totally possible is that this could lead to somewhere maybe Cosmo themed, since we have a Mira themed area over there, or you could actually go right up here to one of these caves and maybe another pathway or another room. I think that could totally be done. or something of the types, because it'd be really interesting to actually be able to use all of the pathways and areas that Animal Jam has, which I think is why some of these areas have become just so desolate, because there's really nothing to do in these areas. And since no one ever really walks to Serapia this way, that's why no one ever actually notices this. But since there's a path here that leads to another land, why couldn't this path lead to somewhere? Or at least lead to Mount Shavir and maybe have a little something in between. We still have these two lands, and since Animal Jam is not afraid to put something here, I think it's totally possible that we could have some pathways all the way up here or all the way down here. Or even some pathways that lead out into the water and have new ocean lands. There's plenty of space to do all of these things. And so we're gonna move on to the next spot in Animal Jam. And although this isn't technically acknowledged as a real spot, I think it's totally possible something could go behind here. Because you can walk all the way behind this house right here, kind of pretty much on top of it. And if you actually do look on the map where you are, we're actually kind of right here. And I think it'd be really cool if there was a way to maybe travel to this area right here, go behind the back, maybe go down to this island or that island. Because you obviously can walk through water on Animal Jam and just kind of go through it, and I think that'd be really cool if maybe this could link up to this land right here. And this is possible because even in Serapia Forest, if we actually walk right over here, there didn't used to be a bridge connecting the two areas. You never used to be able to go to Mount Shavir through this bridge. It was just kind of cut off until a couple years ago when they actually added this in, and then everybody could walk amongst the areas, and now it's actually added onto the map and you can go back to Mount Shavir, which I think is really cool since they can still add pathways and it's not that much of an issue. And this building has also been kind of locked up for years. There's so many things around it, and there's actually an elephant on top of the building if you fly above it or look at the map, and yet we've never actually been able to go inside this building. It's always just had the game on it, and it's kind of been the Temple of Trivia. And I'm pretty sure there's actually a question mark on the door, because I mean, this also is a laboratory and a chamber of knowledge, so it's that kind of theme around. And so I think it'd be really cool if maybe one day we got to see what was inside that building. I mean, if you do go to the chamber and you walk all the way over here, we can see how this trapdoor was never anything, but then they decided to actually make it something. And you would never think that would ever be turned into anything because it just kind of looks like one of the default textures of the map. But now we actually do have that area if you click around here, which I think is actually really interesting because there's so many ways that we can actually use the things that have been added in the game from so long ago. And just seeing this trapdoor makes me believe that it's really possible that we can add pathways and new areas in so many different ways, and I think that's a really cool part of the game. And so the next place I'm going to show you is in Appendale, and if we actually walk all the way up here, there's kind of just this empty staircase, and you can kind of see the top of it. It enters into mountains, and it kind of looks like icy and frigid because the higher up you get on the mountains, the colder it gets. And so you're just kind of greeted by this staircase that never leads anywhere. And if we do look on the map, we're right about here. So it's totally possible that we could end up in this land right here, or maybe even end up in this land, because Animal Jam logic. But I think this would be a really cool land since I personally think we could get a flamingo, or a heron, or even an ostrich, and I think this would be a really nice place that these birds could be in, if that makes any sense, because we kind of have lands for all the different types of animals, except for these birds. They don't really have a marshy, swampy area, and this is exactly that. And I think this would probably be the coolest place that they could add a new pathway to. It's honestly just so cool to walk up kind of like a winding staircase through a mountain. And since so many people don't really go to Appendale unless it's in Alden because they want to trade, I think this would be definitely a way that could actually get more people into this land. I do think it's a really cool land, and there's not many places that you can get just covered in mud. Okay, the ants scare me, but I like the mud. And so what I'm trying to say here is that there's so many places in Animal Jam that could be added onto or changed so that we could find something new in. And they're things you probably haven't even noticed. I mean, you don't really think of the things, you probably see them once and say, oh, well, can't really do anything with that. But I think there's a possibility to do things. Well, anyways, that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to comment down below what your favorite land or addition would be, and even what you think that new animal is. Make sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for 30K, and of course, if you are not subscribed already, make sure to hit that button down below. Bye guys! Seriously, I don't like ants.